this? We live. Come on in. Okay, we are live there. We are live there. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is our second episode of the Barter Black podcast. So welcome to this. This is going to be an inspiring episode for sure. I am your host, of course, Nicole Murphy, and I'm thrilled to have you join us. But first, let me give you a rundown of what Barter Black is all about. Barter Black is not just a podcast. We're a community dedicated to empowering Black entrepreneurs and creators. We believe in sharing stories, insights, expertise to uplift each other in the world of Black entrepreneurship. So if you have a unique story, a perspective to share, or valuable insights into the world of business, we invite you to become a host of an episode right here. If you're watching on YouTube, hello, say hello, hello, hello. The link is in our show notes. It's a platform to shine, inspire, and educate others. So before we dive into the conversation, I would like to invite you to subscribe to our Barter Black channel on YouTube. And if you are as excited as I am for this incredible episode, like and share it out to everyone you know. Today, we have an exciting episode for you. I have Coach Talmadge Spicer, and we are going to be talking about having the guts to follow your guts. He is a mindset coach on a mission to inspire and empower 1 million people to live life by design instead of by default. And I am so happy to have you here because I've been another year and it's so important to talk about. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for our conversation.
So first, I want to I like to know the background story of our guest, how you got into entrepreneurship. What was your journey like into this world of just uncertainty and how you got into mindset coaching?
Well, in short, I needed some money, right? And the 9 to 5 wasn't going to cut it. Now, let me tell you. So back in 2014, right, I was leaving school. I went to Fairleigh Dickinson in New Jersey, and they call it fairly ridiculous because tuition is so high, right? So that's no lie. Tuition was high, and I was leaving school with about $150,000 of student loan debt. And because I left due to me running out of financial aid, I was 15 credits short of my degree as well. So it's kind of like a double whammy. You got all the loans of being a student, but none of the degrees, none of the credentials. So, okay, we make a best out of a bad situation. And I defaulted to the 9 to 5 lifestyle, get a job. What else was I going to do? Right. But all the while, Sally Mae wanted to charge me $12,000 a month to pay back this house, essentially, is what I owed them, a house. And $12,000 was ridiculous, fairly ridiculous. So people were saying, hey, don't just, right. So don't just ignore it. You'll ruin your credit. You'll ruin your life. Go see what you can work out with them. So I call them up and I say, hey, I don't have $12,000 to be paying you guys on a month. I'll starve. And they say, hey, don't worry about it. We got you. We'll put you on our hardship program. Just pay us $4,000 a month and we're good. Non-solution. Right? Non-solution. I'm fresh out of college. I'm living with my fraternity brothers. I think my rent was like $400. So that's like 10 times my rent. Wasn't going to work out. So it got me to thinking, okay, well, what's the real plan? What's the overall plan here? Am I going to be paying $4,000 a month for the next 40 to 60 years, probably working a job that I'm not excited about, just to die in debt, or just to still have debt and possibly die in debt anyway? The math wasn't mathing, right? So that didn't make much sense, right? So I was attracted to entrepreneurship because I knew that I could remove the cap off of my income earning ability. I knew that as long as I was willing to improve myself, improve my products, improve my services, get it to more people, I can always increase my income, right? So, hey,
Mm-hmm.
when you got to answer, you got to answer. I didn't need to think too long about becoming an entrepreneur. I jumped in with both feet, right? One thing that I
Right.
wish I had known at that point, a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, was just how important it was to shift your mindset from an employee mindset to an entrepreneurial one if you were going to be a successful business owner, right? Like I kind of knew, like you hear these things, oh, you got to think positive and all that stuff, but it doesn't really hit home until you're in the trenches doing the things, right? And you don't have a
In it.
safety net, you don't have anybody to fall back on. You don't have anybody to talk to, because I don't know why you started that business anyway. You should have just, say you should have just did that, should have just did this. So it's very lonely. But my next step, as I jumped into entrepreneurship, I found a mentor. He aligned me with an opportunity to start my first direct marketing business. And that required me to move from Jersey. I'm from Brooklyn and New Jersey originally. Uh, moved from Jersey to Idaho to start that first business. And what I was doing was
Oh wow.
I was representing DirecTV and box retailers. So I was overseeing 20 to 25 people at a time. I was overseeing 3 stores at my max, and training and hiring and all that stuff was in my repertoire. That was in my responsibilities. Also doing payroll, all of the things that come with running a business, I was suddenly doing, right? And we were successful. We were doing really good because I was excited. I think that my energy and my enthusiasm about the opportunity did play a huge role in my early success. We were bringing in about $2,000 to $5,000 every single week, and I would pay my people from that and reinvest into the business from the revenue that we were making. Um, but one day I looked up and realized I was in Idaho, and that's when it all changed, right? I was so far away from all the familiar faces and places that I hadn't known that my identity was so wrapped up around. I didn't
Mm.
realize that I never took the time to decide who I was going to be for me and what I wanted to achieve without any outside influence, right? It was always, the familiar faces and places. This is who I am. This is where I am, right? So it in addition to having a intimate relationship, I had a girlfriend at the time that became long distance. She wasn't happy about that. So I'm dealing with all the struggles of being an entrepreneur plus being far away from home and not really finding that support system. The only person that I would be able to rely on for support is just mad that I'm doing the thing in the first place. Right. So she doesn't want to hear anything
Right.
about it. She doesn't want to support me through it. So I find myself going through a very dark and deep depression. I was in the room in Idaho. I remember I never even furnished the place. So I had an air mattress, unfurnished room, no TV, no entertainment. All I had was me, my thoughts, my emotions for, a good couple of months. And it got to the point where I was contemplating suicide because on one hand, I have these loans, which my grandmother had co-signed on, by the way. I didn't want to let her down twice. First she co-signed on a loan. I didn't even graduate. Now she's
Right.
stuck with the loans. That didn't sit right in my soul and my spirit. Uh, and on the other hand, I couldn't fathom any other way that I was going to be able to pay off these loans in uh in a likely manner. So I felt stuck, right? And contemplating suicide. I remember it all came to a head. One night I was on the top level of the garage connected to my office. It was a cold, windy night, and I just remember myself inching closer to the edge of the parking structure and looking over, and yeah, it was high enough to do what it needed to do. And I remember thinking that this was my chance if I was serious. So I'd leaned forward, but
Mm.
I hesitated, but I still imagined, the act, right? And I remember feeling the wind just screaming past me. I remember feeling the weightlessness of no longer being on solid ground, and me plummeting to the ground. And I realized that I didn't actually want to die, right? I didn't want to die. I
Mhm.
just needed a release of pressure, right? I needed a release of pressure, and I also needed a reason that was meaningful enough for me to go through this entrepreneurial proving ground, other than just a sum of money, right? $150,000.
Yeah.
It wasn't equaling out. It wasn't balancing out the things that I was going through to just make $150,000 to pay to not even have, by the way, to pay this loan back wasn't working. So I left that business, even though I did take some very valuable lessons, and I did learn that at that time I had the ability and the enthusiasm to train individuals to see their strongest traits, their qualities, where people would come into the organization. They just needed a job. They just needed some money. And unfortunately, this is a sales job. So you got to have some type of self-esteem about yourself.
Right.
So in that position, I learned that I had the ability to build people's confidence, self-confidence, their self-esteem, give them the energy that they needed to go into the stores, talk to strangers, build relationships, and make money. So, if you could feel good about yourself and make money, I felt like that's what is more meaningful than that, right? That's the best thing that I can do for somebody. But at the time, I didn't have this idea of being a coach. So I go back home, I get a job. I didn't want anything to do with entrepreneurship. I felt like all the positive thinking, that all the books that I've been reading and all that stuff, it was a setup for a letdown, right? I felt like it got me on this high just so I could fall and hit the ground even harder. But that job wasn't scratching the itch either. So I go in there knowing what I'm capable of as an entrepreneur, as a mentor, as a leader. And now I'm listening to my manager who didn't know Jack, right? Doing things that wasn't meaningful. I remember I was working for telesales company, right? Big company, one of the cellular companies. I don't want to mention their name, right? And we're taking inbound calls, and my job is to service the customers for whatever problem they're having, but then also sell them something, right? And my managers have the ability to listen to the calls. So one time I got pulled off of the phone. I was on the phone with an elderly woman. She had a flip phone. She was calling because she had some type of problem. I couldn't upgrade her because she wasn't going to be savvy enough to understand a smartphone. Um, and my manager was like, "Why didn't you sell her anything?" And my response was, "What was I going to sell her? She's an old lady with a flip phone." And he's like, "Well, we have screen protectors." And immediately I'm like, "Are you serious, bro? Because the flip phones, they don't even have glass screens. It's a plastic screen, encapsulated, it's closed down. If I was to sell her a screen protector, the only thing that I could sell her was a universal screen protector that she's gonna have to cut out in the shape of her phone." I realized at that point that this was not about helping people. This is about just making a sale to make a sale, and that's it. And cool. I guess it
Mhm.
works for them, but it wasn't working for me. So I grew miserable at that job and decided to find a way back into the entrepreneurial space. But at that time, I had one very big question on my mind, and that was, what would I do differently? And the answer was, it's not enough to just think positively. It's not enough to just think positively, because what I was doing was I would wait till things got super bad, super overwhelming, and I'd be like, okay, now think positive, think positive, think positive. And trying to think about rainbows and sunshine did not make anything better after the fact, right? So my resolution was, if I'm going to do this again, I'm not going to just think positively, I'm going to become positive, right? I'm going to practice
Mhm.
the things that bring out the best in me on a daily basis. I'm not going to wait till I need it to use it, right? So I started meditating 20 minutes a day. I started exercising, going to the gym regularly. I started writing gratitude. I started writing down 10 things that I was grateful for. I even changed my diet, vegan diet. I changed everything about what I was doing, what I was focusing on, what I was consuming on a daily basis. Started reading more books, and I changed the music that I listened to have more of a positive message. I did everything that I could to just reprogram my mind. and I learned about manifestation. So this is where I feel like I tapped into the powers that I had to manifest. Because where your mind goes, your body is going to follow. And I put it to the test. I said, where's the most luxurious place? If this manifestation stuff works, where's the most luxurious, out of reach place that I could go to? And before you know it, I'm in Dubai. You know, me and my bro went to Dubai, was kicking it out there. And I was like, okay, this stuff is real. There's something to this. A little bit later on, I
Mm.
always wanted to live in California. So I found an opportunity, a lane to take, came here to move to California, sunshine, palm trees, beautiful people, all of the things. And I was still working for other people. I hadn't started my business yet. And I was a brand ambassador for many different brands. This was great, right? I could make my own schedule. I was getting exclusive access to some really exciting events. I was working like the BET Awards and so many other things, right? Uh, and it really didn't click for me that, I should pursue my ability to transform lives with my story and, do the coaching thing, until I was having this one conversation with a team lead on one of the events. I don't remember what we were talking about, but I remember him mentioning that this was his 10th year doing this. And I was like, oh no.
Mm.
Oh, this is good, but it ain't that good. It ain't good enough to, put off my passion and my purpose. 10 years, like, if I keep doing it, I'm more likely to keep doing it. So I made the decision in that moment to no longer do
Right.
things for money, not aligned with my purpose and passion in some form or fashion, right? So coaching, speaking, and writing my book was the focus, but I had no clue how to get started. So the first thing that I did was hire a coach, and I invested my rent money in that coach. Took a blind faith and just jumped off the cliff. And I didn't know how genius it was, but I benefited because not only did they teach me the business of coaching, how do you structure a coaching business, a coaching offer, attract clients, enroll clients, and all that, but they also showed me the areas in which I was still playing small in my life, my limiting beliefs, what I believed I was worth as far as how much I charged or what transformation I could offer. All of those things came to the surface, got exposed, so many tears, but tears of joy, because these were tears of me breaking through, me realizing that a lot of things that were holding me back was somebody else's voice that was just playing in my
Mm.
head. When we go to the
Yeah.
store, don't look at nothing, don't touch nothing, don't ask for nothing, because we ain't got it, and we project that onto other people. That holds us back from charging for what we offer, our products and our services. Little things like
Yeah.
that, and just being able to sit and realize that, and just say, okay, as an adult, I'm going to release that. I'm no longer limited by those ideas that my parents meant well, I'm sure, just as so many of us do. But after I started getting my first clients and seeing the results and the transformations that I was able to help them bring about in their lives, I realized that, this was the most meaningful thing that I could be doing with my life. And I ain't never looked back. But
I
yeah.
love it. I absolutely. I mean, you touch. Look, I have my notepad here. You touched on so many things, and this is what this is all about. Us gathering things from each other's stories and learn, not only learning but being inspired by each other. And I love when entrepreneurs share their struggles and journey and not make, like you said, all the butterflies and pretty flowers and everything like that, because there is a journey that we go through that you people, on the internet might not see, but there's a story there in each one of us. And I definitely appreciate you sharing that. But as a confidence coach, what are the key principles or strategies that you teach to entrepreneurs to master their minds and maximize their income?
Well, first, I want to touch on something that a lot of people miss, right? And I'm definitely one of them, probably the biggest one as a confidence coach. Uh, it's it's when you miss this, you start saying things like fake it till you make it, right? And that's such a prevalent, cliche in the entrepreneurial world and in all of the worlds, right? And the thing that people miss is courage, right? If you have courage, you don't need fake confidence. Because if you have courage, you have the ability to jump out of your comfort zone and have the experiences that you need to have that allow you to kind of navigate where you need to be. Even if you don't hit your target every time, sometimes you will hit your target. And now, boom, now you have, there's no reason you shouldn't have confidence in something that you have done, instances that you can recall. But even if you haven't hit the target, you know what 3% shift you need to make. You know what you need to do better to get closer to that target. That is also a form of confidence, right? We're moving forward. So instead of fake it till you make it, I'd rather be
Nice.
it till you see it, right? Embody that person, be that person now. Take what you have
Mm,
and use it to get what you need. But that's just the first thing that I focus on, right? So
that was a word. That was a word.
that's just the first part of it. Yeah, that is actually the prerequisite that you need before anybody can work with me. You got to have courage first, because I can't do anything with somebody who uh is so paralyzed to move towards their goal. Fortunately, though, to show me that you have courage, you show up to a call, you book a call, you show up to a call, you're open and honest with me, you tell me where you are, what you're challenged with, where you want to be. That to me shows courage. So if anybody is discouraged by me saying that if you don't have courage we can't do anything, I don't think the bar is as high as you think it is. Asking for help is a form of courage for me, right? Once we identify that you have the courage, we're going to move into clarity. We're going to get clear because the strategy is important, right? Knowing what you want to do, how you want to
Mm,
do it, when you want to do it is very important. But one part that people miss is who you get to be. What is the version of you that already has the thing that you desire, right? The life that you desire. It's already existing inside of you, or you wouldn't desire it. So who is that person? Who is that more motivated, that more consistent, that more clear-minded person that's living in you, that's trying to be expressed, that's being suppressed right now? So we get clarity on that version of you. And the next step is consistency. I get to hold you accountable to being that person and to carrying out the strategy. So we're going to talk about time management. That's your most valuable asset, is your time. You ain't going to get it back. Money can come and go. Money is a really good asset too, but your time and your attention, where your attention is invested, oh my God, dividends, right? And in this capitalist society, that's all they want is your attention. Social media is doing a number on distracting us from ourselves, right? So I help you manage your time, your attention, and I'll hold you accountable to taking massive action towards your goals regularly. And what I find is that this confidence construction coaching is the formula to building that unshakable confidence that will eventually open up all of the doors to your designer lifestyle so you can live for a living.
awesome. I mean, when you're working with people, how do you go about identifying exactly and helping them follow the intuition of their gut feeling when it comes to personal and business decisions? Because I know for me sometimes it's either up or down. It's the personal life is up and the business is down, or business is up and the personal is down. And I'm like, where in the world? Like I am spinning right now.
But they say you need a work life balance, but I feel like there is an integration that can be had. Like when you're on a purpose driven mission, when your business is aligned with your purpose, it's also part of who you are, right? So even if you're talking to friends and family, you could be having fun and all that stuff. But for me, I'm still a coach. Sometimes it still comes up. So I'm still thinking about, clients that I had and offers that I can create and how I can help and how I can impact. I might just be having a regular conversation, and I am careful to not be a coach in social situations. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to the cocktail parties and coaching people up, but I am listening intently to what people are saying and what, sometimes people just vent to you. I want to know what they're challenged by, and I'm still asking pointed questions because I'm genuinely interested, right? So there are separate worlds, but there is some overlap. I think that if you're really excited and passionate about what you're doing. Did I answer that all the way, or was there a second part to that?
Yeah.
Did I do the thing?
Well, it was basically how are you identifying? Yeah, how are you identifying and helping them with their gut feeling?
But what
Can
I
you hear
found,
me?
yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if it's a little bit of a delay, but I can hear you. Good to go. So what I find is that, and a lot of people, a lot of people get this wrong about coaches. They think that, coaches have all the answers. We're just going to tell you what to do and you do it. That's more of a consultant type of thing. As a coach, I'm more of a listener than a teller, right? So in my experience, what I find with my clients is that they have all the answers already, right? It's not having the answer that's the problem. In most cases, not all cases, it's not having the answer that's the problem. It's talking yourself out of it, right? It's saying that, okay, I know the thing, I know what I want to do and what lights me up and excites me, but what about this, and that, right? And my job as a coach is to challenge all of the things that are challenging you, to challenge all of the limiting beliefs, all of the contradictory ideas and thoughts that you're having. So how I do that is I just ask questions. Why do you think that that is a thing? Like, who told you that you needed to wait till next year to get started? Who told you that? Where did you get that idea? And it doesn't really take much for people to be like, oh, I guess nobody did. I don't know where I got that idea from, huh? And then and then it just
Oh,
poof, it's not a thing anymore, right? And then they feel a lot lighter. They feel like, okay, now these things aren't weighing me down. I guess I'm clear for takeoff. Okay, now what does takeoff look like? Well, here you go. You
right.
know, step 1 and 2. You may not have steps 3 through 10, but you got steps 1, 2, and 3. Let's see what happens. We'll
Yeah.
we'll just revisit this at that
Yeah.
point and see what the next step is.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it just takes you talking through it with someone to for that light bulb to come on. Because I've had that plenty of times with the coach, and I was like, why did I not think of that? Sometimes you just have to hear yourself talk it out with someone that can help you with that part. So let's talk about your journey from default mode to living life by design. How is that? What's the process in that?
Well, I think for me, it might look a little bit different than a lot of other people. I know that a lot of other people, they do feel stuck in situations, and I have been in situations that I didn't like. Sometimes I did feel stuck, but not for too long. I think the difference with me is that I've always been dumb enough to do the thing that I wanted to do. Hold on. Oh, we're live, right? It's not pre-recorded. I don't know if you can hear it. It's like motorcycles driving by.
Yep. No.
Oh, you can't hear that? Oh, this is a good
Oh no, I
microphone
can't.
then. Okay, well then my bad. um, yeah, for me, well, one thing that my father always said was, you got to jump off the bridge to know there's water under there. And you heard it that time? Oh, my goodness.
This is life. That's entrepreneurship.
Yes, indeed. He said you need to jump off the bridge to know there's water under there. And he said that to mean that I'm hard headed. I don't listen. I don't follow directions. And it was a negative for him, but for like me, it's like hell yeah. Hell yeah. If it don't make sense to me, then I'm not just blindly following behind anybody. I'm gonna do what makes sense for me, even if it means me running 100 miles an hour into a brick wall. It's cool. I'll take my licks. I'll take my lumps, right? Um, so with that attitude as a young child, and uh, just doing the thing that I wanted to do, I learned that a lot of people are really like terrible things happen when you take a risk, when you roll the dice. Yes, you could end up worse off, but in most cases, for me, you either win or you learn, right? I think that we live,
Mm.
in a society, in a world, in a country. There's plenty to criticize about America, but one thing about America is there are second and third chances. There's fourth and fifth chances, right? There's always this opportunity to start over most of the time. So what I find is that the worst case scenario isn't always as bad, or what we think could happen never does happen. The worst case scenario is just as unlikely as the best case scenario. More often than not, you fall somewhere in the middle with a really good lesson that you can take and just use it to try again, rinse and repeat. So with that attitude, I I've been looked at as crazy all the time, and I'm looking at y'all like y'all crazy. Y'all need to come on over here. I'm having a blast. Like I'm in Dubai. I'm living where I want to live, being around who I want to be with, while y'all, complaining about this, that, and the other. When the difference, I think, is just the courage to say no, F that. Like, no, I don't deserve this. I don't want this in my life anymore. I'm good. Even though I don't have a backup plan, even though I don't know how things are going to turn out step by step by step, I know this ain't it. So I'm gonna catch y'all later. If I think if more people had that type of self-esteem and that type of everything is figure outable, that idea that you will figure it out, then more people would be free to create what they were called to create in life.
Yeah, yeah, and that leads me to my next question. How can you share some practical tips and exercises for everyone listening that they can implement right now to start shifting that mindset and taking control of their lives?
There's a couple. Can I curse?
Sure.
Sure.
They'll
So
they'll take us off if we know what you could.
because that's the name of it's the name of the exercise, right? There's the meditation, there's the
Okay.
gratitude, there's all of those things. There's exercise, there's all of the things that we hear about, that we know we need to do, that are extremely powerful and potent. I definitely recommend those. But there's one that I use that I don't see other people use as often as I think they could if they knew about it, right? It's called "Fuck You, I Forgive You," right? And
Mm.
the point of this, right? The point of this exercise is to recognize the parts of you that have been hurt, acknowledge the people and the situations that created that hurt in you, that trauma that weighs on your spirit, on your heart, on your mind, your soul, your subconscious, all of the things. And give yourself permission to express your frustration with it. Fuck you. So how you do it is you get a pillow, you get in your room or whatever, you think about the thing. Maybe it's a parent or a guardian, a teacher, or anything, whatever comes to mind that you really have some animosity against. And you scream into that pillow, you curse, you punch the air, you throw a fit, you throw a tantrum like you're a child, you cry, you do whatever you need to do to really just get that energy moving and get it out of you. But at the end of it, I forgive you. And you release it from weighing on you, right? I think that's one of the more controversial practices. And there's so many different exercises like that that are symbolic of a breakthrough. You know, moving that energy through your body and releasing yourself from the pigeonhole that a lot of these ideas, you've carried on since. A lot of us are controlled by ideas that we came up with when we were just 7 years old, and we accepted it as truth at that point, and we never questioned it again. So revisiting those things, I think, does a lot to lift some weights off of our shoulder and free us up to move forward intentionally how we want to move forward, instead of how we've been told we should move forward and who we are. So fuck you, I forgive you.
Wow. Just let's see. I'm going over to Instagram because we're live everywhere right now. And CJ Body Hair Essential said, "This is awesome. I'm definitely inspired. Thank
Oh, that's
you,
love.
Queen." Yeah, that was definitely to do that exercise.
Yes, indeed. Wild out, go all out, do your thing.
That's definitely one of the ones that's going to be on my list.
I remember the first time I told my client to do that, and she was like, "What?"
Um, so let's see. What do you have coming up? What do you have coming up that we should know about? And how can everyone get in contact with you?
Right now, actually, I created a course, right, an online self-paced course, um, to help you identify and eliminate any limiting beliefs that you may have, but also set deep, meaningful goals that stick. Right. So, the New Year's resolutions that you do for 2 weeks and then they're out of there. These are ones that you stick, that you follow through with. The course is called the Mindset Makeover, and I don't know how much longer I can give out free access to it, but as we're speaking, the access is free. So I have that right now. uh, when you do get the Mindset Makeover, I do also like to pair it with at least one strategy call. I call them clarity calls and breakthrough calls with me, and the reason for that is because I know that in the coaching space, and I know a lot of coaches do know this, which kind of makes me mad. They sell courses knowing that 80% of the people that sign up for a course won't do anything with it. And they don't think that is their responsibility to meet people where they are and actually deliver what they signed up for, deliver what the person signed up for.
Yeah.
So I want to take it one step further and make sure, because that face to face, that accountability, having you speak out your commitments and what are you thinking about, what are you dealing with as far as time constraints and all of that stuff, and can do a lot to at least get you registered, get you committed. And I send out reminder text messages and I make myself available for support throughout the course. So that's my way of being the entrepreneur who is supposed to solve these problems and not just put it all on the consumer, right? But I feel like that was a tangent. But that's what I have coming up. How can you get in touch with me? I'm my coach T Spice on all social media platforms. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, I'm Talmadge Spicer. And I believe that we'll make the link to the free course available here, right?
Yeah, yeah. All the links, all of your links are in the show notes, so everyone can get those, click those after the episode. I wanted people to know where they can find you while they were watching. Um, but in today's fast-paced world, we everything is just fast. We have to come up with a fast solution. Maintaining a positive mindset can be very challenging. It's like, oh,
Right.
wow, why do I have this? How do you personally stay motivated and focused on your mission?
Honestly, I think that just being so attached to it, being so passionate about it, and I don't know, it might sound privileged because a lot of people don't have or they feel like they don't have a passion or can't find it. But when you have been building something, it's kind of like your child, right? It's kind of like, it's another part of me. It's my identity. I couldn't separate myself from my business if I wanted to. And like I said, that might sound privileged because so many people that's out of reach for them. But to those people, I say that these passions, right? Uh, it's not a one and done. It's not a pick this thing and then stick with it your whole life. It's more like a buffet, right? You get to, if you have the courage to do so, you get to walk up to the passion bar, the buffet, and try things. See what lights you up. they early on, like years and years ago when I first started, they said the thing that you want to do is the thing that you would do for free, right? The type of service or
Mm,
product that you will offer is the thing that you would do for free. You find that thing and then you charge for it. Don't I'm not telling you to work for free. I'm telling you to find the thing
right.
that you would do for free. And uh yeah, talking to people, helping people, seeing the smile on their face, seeing the transformation, seeing how they feel about themselves, and being able, because I know that that's contagious. So this is important. So once you get to that point, staying motivated, staying into it is pretty much, it's effortless. And I have had times where I was discouraged because there were coaches that I had looked up to, and I found out that they might not be really great people. I've seen
Mm,
some marketing tactics and strategies used in the industry that are counterintuitive to what we are in it for, like to make an impact, to help, and all that stuff. I've seen people look down and judge people that can't afford coaching and things like that. And it's like, that's not what I got in it for, right? So all of these people and ideas that I was attached to, I had to just take a step back and take an inventory of, who I was being, who I was showing up as a coach in the space. And when I had my daughter, I just really didn't want to pass down any information that was so woo woo, so out there that it couldn't be applied in everybody's life. Because what I see in the industry is, it's a lot of white people. It's a lot of white people that come from a place of privilege, and they're like, oh, if you just want to manifest your life, you just need to do this, this, and this. And it has nothing to do with the statistics, it has nothing to do with the history of the country, it has nothing to do with being successful as a Black person, right? And that's a huge gap of people that's not being served. We are, many of us are in certain financial situations because of systemic structures that put us there, right? We deal with things, a lot of the times coming out of poverty, that our white counterparts have not dealt with, and they come on these platforms, and they talk to you like, well, if you're not making $100,000 a month, it's all your fault, and you just don't want it bad enough. I hate that. I hate that. So, you know, if I could find a way to get back to the original question, I promise I will. I promise I will. But staying motivated, I think, is all about just knowing that I'm creating something that's important, that's meaningful. I think that's the answer.
yeah, I love that, and I love that you brought up about um, coaches and not getting what you need. I learned a word when I first got a coach, and she said that a lot of people were coming to her who had coach hurt because they trusted these people and they didn't get what they expected to get, or they weren't the people that they thought they were, looking at social media.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a lot.
Right. For sure. So I hope to fill that
Yeah,
gap,
yeah.
I hope to fill that gap.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, what roles does confidence play in achieving success? Do you think, and how do individuals build that boost their to boost? How do they boost their confidence for their entrepreneurship endeavors? Because we know the struggle is real. We know it can be lonely, but what can we do?
Right. It's 80%. It's 80%, because being in the right place at the right time, talking to the right person, and saying the right things, I don't know if there's anything left to the game. I mean, I think being able to fulfill on your promises is also important, which is why fake it till you make it ain't really the best thing that you can do. But if you want to be able to show up and show out, and be that person at that time, I think it goes back to courage, right? If you don't want to fake it till you make it, you need to be courageous and to go in there and to scrape your knees and scrape your elbows and bump your head on stuff and say stupid stuff, say, not know what you're talking about, but do your best, and as long as you're doing your best gets to be better. right? And that takes
Mm,
courage. So the secret to confidence is courage, because courage will lead to experiences that you can be confident about.
nice, nice. I love that, and it just took me back to where you said till you see it. I'm
Be it till
taking
you see
notes.
it, right?
I'm taking my notes over here, and I hope everyone
Yes,
else
indeed.
listening is taking their notes too. So looking ahead, what are your future plans and goals on your mission to empower 1 million people? And how can the listeners get involved and benefit from your work?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So here's one of the things, right? And I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna be transparent right now. When I mentioned that there were some coaches that I looked up to that I realized weren't really that great, one experience that I had was when, because I was working with a mentor, billionaire PA. Shout out to billionaire. He's on a mission to get 1 million people to speak their dreams into existence, right? And I'm like, okay, I like that. I can take the idea of thinking big and making a big impact. But I also felt like, well, why stop there, right? It's more than 1 million people on earth. Why not go to 1 billion people or 8 billion people or whatever? And so I did. I grew my target to 1 billion people, and I got into a little thing, a disagreement with another coach. He dragged me on social media, and he had all of his followers drag me. And it's like, 1 billion people. Do you know how many people that is? You'll never impact 1 billion people. Blah blah blah. This and other. So I I know that what they're missing is, yeah, it hurt my heart. I was so sad. I was super sad, dog. And I was like, damn, bro, why you do me like that? But it is what it is. I had to look at my mission, and I had to be able to defend my mission. And I knew before that this even happened that I probably wasn't gonna touch 1 billion or 2 or 3 billion people, or even 1 million people face to face, hand to hand, foot to foot. I always knew that my mission was a each one reach one type of deal. Duh, right? To those people. But so I learned though that it needed to be said, right? So my big picture goal, my vision is to create an organization under the umbrella of the Uncle Sonny Project, which is my company, a coalition, a collaboration of coaches and consultants, from your love coaches to your business coaches to your life coaches, your mindset coaches, your fitness coaches, all of the things, a one-stop shop where you can find affordable support, mentoring, and consultation for Black entrepreneurs, creatives, and all of the people that are going down the unbeaten path, the people that want to do something differently than what they're seeing in their immediate circle and don't necessarily have the support or the people to talk to in order to do it. That's what I'm thinking, like the Amazon of coaches and consultants.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome. I mean, there's so many I feel like we need to band together. That's what Barter Black is all about. We need to come together and build these platforms where we can help each other. We can provide those resources for each other, but there are so many different platforms that want to provide those resources, but we have to, just band together to do it all at once. So, with all that being said, tell the people why they should be clicking that link, why they should be jumping on that course. And you said you get time, face to face time or something like that with you. Like, that's pretty awesome. Like, with a course, you got to go through the course FaceTime. So tell people what they'll be getting. I know you already told them once, but we want to hear it again. What they'll be getting and why they should be clicking that link is in our show notes somewhere, wherever you're watching. Make sure you click the link tonight. Your go.
Yes, indeed. So So the reason why you should click the link is because if you are looking to do something big, if you know that you're meant for more, right, but you're holding yourself back, you're procrastinating, you're unclear on your next steps, maybe you're a little nervous, right? This is something that you can do is low pressure to start going down that path. What I realized is that compound interest doesn't just apply to your money, right? It applies to your energy as well. When you invest your energy, when you take one step, you're far more likely to take that second step. And when you take that second step, you're probably double more likely to take that third, fourth, fifth, sixth step, right? So if you're stuck and stagnant, what you really need to do is get some momentum by taking an easy step, which is the free course. There is no friction there's no risk involved, anything like that. Take a baby step, register for the course, you get connected with me. I'll be able to meet you where you are and support you the rest of the way. It is 36 lessons, so it's not like a one and done type of thing. You have support for days and weeks to come, right? We go into various topics. This is a course that I have sold for over thousands of dollars. So I'm making it free right now. So it's not just like a quick throw together type of thing. It took me 3 years to actually complete it. That's my bad. But, you can only imagine all of the things that I've learned being hyper focused on this topic for 3 years. And now it's ready and it's accessible. Um, and there was something else I was going to say, but I think that I said the things, most of it. If it comes back, it comes back. I hope.
Okay, and then mention your socials as well, so we can
That's right.
click those. But those are in the show notes as well. But you can go ahead and mention those as well.
I'm my coach T Spice, and on my socials, I like to open up about my experience, with self doubt, with procrastination, with lack of clarity, all of the things. I also talk about, how I've helped my clients and give you practical steps 100% for free, again, and give you more and more opportunities to connect with me. And you get to stay up to date with, new offers as they come out, new opportunities. And hopefully one of them, it just perks your eyes up, perks your ears up and say, hey, that's the thing that I need right here, right now. And you'll get access to it. Again, that's my coach T Spice. And I can't wait to connect with you all.
Awesome. I appreciate that. And you said it's 36 modules in your course?
36 lessons, 5 modules.
36, 36 lessons, 5 modules. That means you have to put in the work. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. So we want to make sure that people are you're successful when you put in the work. And I keep going back to, I wrote it big on my, be it till you see it. So you have to go in, click the course, sign up, and the free time for me is that's just everything. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. I know everyone else did. Um, uh, if you found this information inspiring, definitely let us know. You can comment, hit hashtag replay. Make sure you reach out to Coach T Spicer. And if you're interested in learning more about Barter Black, you can go to barterblack.io and see all the things that we are doing to empower Black entrepreneurs. Again, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, do that right now. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, your voice matters, your story inspires, and your success paves the way for future generations of Black entrepreneurs. Until next time, stay inspired and keep shining. Thank you so much.